Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Real Housewives of Potomac Season 2, Episode 8, which was titled War of the Darbys. It's a late Sunday night, but I'm going to get this recap out for you guys, and please take a moment and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments, let me know what you think about the video, what you were thinking about the show if you watched it, and rate the video, and please share with other people, help me grow my channel. So let's get started. So there was a lot going on the show, and most of it centered around Ashley, and I don't know what Ashley going through because she's too young to be going through menopause, but she had an attitude on her in this episode that was out of this world. But before we get to that, let's talk about these other women. So Robyn is still trying to justify this arrangement with Juan, and I'm wondering, do you all think that Juan really wants Robyn and is just tired of being in limbo with her, because she doesn't want to try and work things out again? Or do you think that he feels trapped because he really doesn't know how to be on his own, and they have created this dysfunctional codependency on each other that, I don't know, that kind of like literally has them stuck together where neither one of them knows how to go their separate ways? Leave your comments below and let me know what you think is the situation with Juan and Robyn, and what it is that they need to do to get unstuck. So the first few episodes, these two were looking all happy, and we kind of had a little hope that they were going to try and work things out. But now Juan is, showing his true feelings, and you can tell that he's frustrated and not happy and doesn't really want to be there anymore. So her parents show up for the mom's birthday dinner that Robyn has planned for them, and from the moment the parents get there, like, Juan is snapping under his breath at Robyn. So Robyn, she's still questioning her identity and says that, she's setting up this Ancestry.com account to try to figure out her true heritage. And then we get like some flashbacks from last season, where she got into the discussion with Katie, and how she used to always get angry with Katie when Katie would bring up her race. While they're at the dinner table, Robyn lets her mom know about the Ancestry.com thing, and then she also says something about, going back to North Carolina where the mom is from, but the mom says that there's nobody left there. And it just seems to be like there's something going on with Robyn's parents, because how can you just have no relatives left and you don't know where the relatives are or how to get in touch with them? So I can kind of understand Robyn feeling a little lost, because she probably thinks she has no identity and she doesn't really know who she is. And then I'm wondering, like, if she found out, she had these white people in her family or something, is that going to change her attitude or make her outlook on life any better? But I guess it is good to know exactly, what you're mixed with, what your heritage is, what is the history of your family. So then she gives her mom this birthday card, and this side of the birthday card, she's written this long letter, and decides to read the letter to the mom at the birthday table. And I'm thinking, okay, if you took the time to write that long letter in that card, then that seems to me like something that's intimate and personal, and that your mom should read when she's alone and goes home. So after she reads the card, there's a couple of little undertones and jabs at Juan in the letter that she wrote. And the mom just basically says that she's not getting in their business, that they had to figure this thing out on their own. She's staying out of it. And I respect the fact that even though her parents may have played a part in how this thing came about, because if I'm remembering from last season, they talked about how Juan, I don't know if he had came to live with them as a teenager. Maybe that was the Dwayne Wade story. But somehow her parents were like parents to him. So that probably, they kind of like started this mess off. But anyway, Robyn has to figure out what she's going to do, and Juan, both of them need to grow up and figure out what they're going to do, because they think they're helping their kids by staying together, but them kids know they're not happy, and the older they get, they're going to realize that this is a very dysfunctional situation that they're in. So then we move on over to Karen, and Karen says that she's happy that she shared the story about being raped in college, and that it was like a burden lifted off of her, and she feels lighter now that, you know, she's gotten that off her spirit and off her soul, and so she's ready to move on to great things. So she's at the driving range, you know, and they're hitting golf balls, and she's there with Monique, and then Ashley showed up, and both Monique and Ashley had on high heel shoes, and so I'm thinking, like, this is what Iyanla was talking about last night on the episode with Laura Govan. If you guys haven't watched that or seen the recap, I do recap that show, and that video is up. But anyway, Iyanla, you know, spoke on the fact that you don't have to always be dressed up and photo ready every time you leave the house. It's okay to go to the driving range and have on some sneakers or flat shoes and be dressed appropriate for the activity that you are about to do. But they're there, you know, trying to look cute and everything with their heels on. I'm just like, seriously. And right off the bat, you know, Monique is trying to throw shade at Giselle. And I'm thinking, like, is that what you do all the time? Like, you think about Giselle every second of the day because that's all you seem to talk about. And then Ashley shows up and wants to talk about, you know, how her and Charisse have gotten into it, and how Robyn and Giselle showed up at the restaurant and cussed her out in front of all of her customers. And she asked Karen for some advice, and Karen is basically like, girl, I cannot side with you on this, that sometimes it's your presentation and your body language that elicits the response that you get, and maybe you are driving these altercations and making people want to curse you out, so you need to check yourself. And so I was happy, you know, that Karen is kind of like moving into the leadership role on the show and letting these girls know that their behavior is inappropriate and trying to be the voice of reason in the group. So when we go over to Monique and Chris's house, they are getting ready to put the babies to bed. And Chris, I don't know why you throwing shade at Cam Newton. Now, you know that wasn't right to be doing Cam like that. And then you and Monique need to stop growing these palm trees in y'all yard, because that's one thing I can say, that y'all got some shade for days to be throwing at people. And so Monique and Chris, like I said, they're putting the kids to bed. It was just a really sweet little scene. I think Monique was laying down in the bed with the little boy, and then Chris was over in a rocking chair, rocking the little girl to sleep. And I was just thinking, oh, how sweet, until Monique started running her mouth, and she's got to tell us what a great mom she is. And I'm thinking, Monique, let us see the scene, get the vision for ourselves, and take it upon ourselves to think that you're a great mom. You don't have to explain or narrate every scene that you are in on the show. Just let stuff happen naturally, and, you know, let us like you because you're believable and we want to like you. So after they get the kids to bed, they go outside on the patio, you know, by the fire pit, and they're smoking cigars together, which I think is so disgusting, but hey, whatever works for them. And so they start talking about the new house and, you know, what all they're going to do. And then, of course, the conversation somehow makes its way back around to Monique saying, oh, you know, you proposed at this house, and, you know, when we go to the other house, you know, Chris said he's going to propose again, and she wants to know that she get a new ring at the new house, and he says, well, you know, I might have to go into the 401k to do that, but no, you're not going to get another proposal, Monique, because you're married now, so you don't need another proposal. You won the prize, you have the husband. Be happy with it and stop trying to prove to us that y'all are so happy and in love and have this great, perfect marriage. Let us experience it along the way on the show. So Giselle and Karen are out on a double date because Giselle wants to get Karen's feel for Kevin. So the couples go indoor racing, you know, in the little race cars. And so Giselle is all competitive, you know, like I am. I would be the same way. But Karen lets her know that, you know, you need to let the man win sometimes, you know, especially in the dating field. So Karen snuck off with the eye candy, and she called Kevin and left Giselle with Uncle Ben, as Giselle referred to Ray. And so Ray is so funny, and he tells Giselle that she better get it while she can, because she don't want to be 65 years old trying to find a man, because she ain't gonna be as cute as she is right now. And I'm just like, dang, cut her down, Ray, and let her know what the deal is. And so he's basically letting her know she needs to step up her game, because she ain't as young as she thinks she is. So over in the corner, Kevin, is talking about him and Giselle, and how he's not having sex with Giselle, and he wants to get married one day. So Giselle is tired of the Black Bill Gates and wants to go find her man, because she thought that Karen was looking a little hungry, and plus she's tired of listening to Ray tell her that she's getting old. And so Ray is like, yeah, they have been gone a long time, so maybe I do need to check on my wife. So now Karen has Giselle helping her with a photo shoot that she wants to do for her and Ray's 20th anniversary. And when they were in the shop and Karen went to try on the outfit, Giselle go ask the lady at the store, talk about, oh, so does your store cater to people Karen's age? Just like, Giselle is just so low down and dirty. So the lady's like, yes, we do. What's your problem? Because you look like you could shop in here too. So I don't know what the age difference is between Giselle and Karen, but I think Karen's like 50. And Giselle is she in her 40s or late 30s? But I mean, she's not in her 20s like Ashley. So for her to be trying to put Karen down, she really needs to stop. So then I got to thinking, when they did the photo shoot, Karen came out there in this doggone white dress shirt with the black tie and a black hat and some black tights on. And I'm thinking, now, Giselle, if you're supposed to be so fashionable and so hip, and you were there to help Karen pick out an outfit, why she didn't walk out that store with a leopard print catsuit on like you had on when you showed up at her house to take your picture in? You could have did Karen a little better than what you allowed her to come out there in. But nevertheless, Karen looked cute in the outfit, and the pictures looked like they turned out really nice. They were very tasteful, and she was covering up her body, because Karen don't strike me as the type that would have been out there in some bra and panty set anyway, so I guess it worked out okay. So when Giselle goes over for the photo shoot, her and Karen are talking about Kevin, and Karen says that she really likes Kevin, but she isn't convinced that he is the one for Giselle. And she says that Kevin is too nice for Giselle, and Giselle needs somebody that's going to toss her around the house a little bit. And so she says that her and Kevin have been in the friend zone too long for it to become anything more than what it is. And that Kevin is talking marriage, and Giselle is talking not getting married again. So she needs to send him on his way so he can find the woman that is meant for him. And then Giselle, she's still bothered by Ray, telling her that she won't be sexy for long. That's all she was focusing on. So then we move on to Miss Ashley and Mr. Michael, and what a hot mess they were in this episode, which was why it was called The War of the Darbys. So Ashley was talking to this man like he was nothing on this episode. I mean, I think she called him an insane asshole when they were arguing outside the restaurant. And I was just like, girl, are you serious right now? So that whole situation is just falling apart. And she's all in Robyn business and talking about her, when it's her mess that's falling apart. And so she's deflecting what she's internalizing onto Robyn, rather than face up to the fact that her dang old marriage is probably falling apart. So Ashley just jumped up and changed the entire menu without talking to the man. Then scheduled a tasting amongst food critics without talking to the man. And then she doesn't understand why he's upset. So she does this photo shoot of the food with some of these new items that she's added to the menu. So one of the things was chicken and donuts. Okay, it didn't even look appetizing. I could not tell what that was on that platter. And so when the guy was taking the picture, she kept saying, I want it to look like chicken and donuts. And the guy was like, well, basically everything on the plate is the same color. So I don't know what it's going to look like. And I really want to see that finished photo because it looked like it was some strawberries or something on there. But for the most part, it was some fried chicken, which was brown. And then the donut, which was brown. So it just looked like a cut up, chopped up mess on a black platter that she had going on. So Ashley finally tells Michael that she has changed the menu and plans to have this food critic tasting thing. And so he's feeling some kind of way. And when she tells him, that she's inviting the ladies to come to the event, he's like, are you crazy? Like, you're already having trouble in the restaurant. You're bringing food critics in, and now you're going to bring all this drama in with these girls that you're arguing and fighting with who just showed up a few days ago and cussed you out in front of everybody. But so she wants to argue the point, and then she doesn't really understand why Michael is upset because it's his money that's invested in this restaurant. And if the restaurant fails, Ashley hasn't lost any money. He's lost this money. And I mean, there's some other things going on that I'll touch on in a little bit. But I just thought that the way she was talking to him was just very disrespectful, regardless of what she was feeling on the inside. So then she sends out these invitations to the girls. And so they are reading the invitations as they receive them. And they say that she said on the invitation, bring your 2 cents worth or add your 2 cents worth. And I'm thinking, did the invitation really say that? But I guess it did, because when everybody received the invitation and read it, like that was the part that they mentioned. And I think she said something about you had an opinion about the menu, so come give your 2 cents on the changes or something like that she had. But it was inappropriate and just really setting the tone for how she thinks that they're going to behave when they come to the tasting. There was a couple of scenes where Ashley is just going off on Michael, and she was just acting so, I don't want to say hood or ghetto, but she was acting like she was straight from the streets. And she was talking to a random stranger, and I'm like, little girl, you don't even have a clue. And so Michael was like, I'll shut the restaurant down. There won't be an opening or anything. So of course she got mad about that and saying that she doesn't feel like an equal partner in the relationship, and she doesn't feel like a partner in the business if he could just take it away from her, without a second whim. And I'm like, he's saying whatever he can say to get your attention, to get you to take it down a few notches. And I'm like, little girl, you don't marry some old rich white man and not understand that he's calling all the shots. And yes, it's his restaurant, because it is, and that he is just giving you a hobby to occupy your time so you can feel like you're important and the diva in charge and running things. But at the end of the day, Ashley, you really have nothing of your own. You only have what he gives you. So if you want to, be, what did she say? She was the bitch in charge. So if you really wanted to be that, Ashley, then you need to come up with your own funds, buy your own restaurant that he doesn't have a stake in, and then you can be the lady in charge. But until then, you kind of got to play by his rules. And if he wants to dangle that restaurant over your head, that's exactly what he's going to do. So Ashley, she's talking about she thinks him being in a relationship with a younger woman is making him feel insecure. And I'm like, girl, no, he ain't feeling insecure. The man is rich. He has money, and he captured you with that money. So he's not feeling insecure. What he's doing is wondering if he needs to trade you in for another tamer, more humble model. That's really what's going on here. It's the night of the party, and the ladies arrive, and Giselle and Monique, they're trying to figure out how to be mean girls to each other without actually being mean girls. So they're a little tiff going back and forth. It has become so irrelevant on the show. So they either gonna have to have a fight or make up and decide to be friends. But what they're doing right now, it ain't working. And we get inside, and Ashley and Michael are giving a speech. So you can just tell the tension between the two. And then Michael is kind of talking, and I think he said in his speech a couple of times that it was his restaurant, and then Ashley, kind of had to put her little dig in, and mine, I'm a partner or whatever she was mumbling off to the side. So finally, the speech is over with, and then Michael goes to sit down with Monique and Chris, while Ashley goes outside to sit with the rest of the crew. And actually, Monique was outside with the girls too, but then I guess she was feeling kind of awkward, because the whole thing with her and Giselle. So she gets up and says, well, I'm going back inside, with my husband, and, we had to hear about her and her great marriage again. So then Ashley, she is like, she just comes off like really abrasive and defensive and confrontational with the ladies for absolutely no reason. So Giselle is kind of like, okay, I want to ask you a question. When you sent the invitation out, you said that you wanted our 2 cents. Now, did you really want our 2 cents, or were you just trying to, put that on there? And then just Ashley is like, well, yeah, I do want your 2 cents, but don't be blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my God. So Giselle kind of points out the fact that the same stuff is still on the menu, and then Ashley starts naming all the new stuff that she added to the menu. But what Giselle was trying to say was, it's still the same old menu, girl. Like, you still have not made the changes that we recommended to you. So rather than deal with Giselle talking about that menu, she turns her attention to Charisse, and she acts like she's going to apologize to Charisse, but then she kind of gets like real catty with Charisse, and I'm just like, Ashley, what are you going through? Like, what is going on with you? When they call Ashley out, on her bull crap, she is just talking crazy and all over the place, and telling the ladies that they are stuck in the mud. And then Robyn, she speaks up, and she just wants to know why Ashley keeps coming for her, and questions how genuine Ashley is while she's calling everyone else out and telling them that they're two-faced and untrustworthy. And she brings up all the stuff from the last season where where Ashley Googled her and found out that her and Juan had filed bankruptcy and all this stuff and were losing their house. And she's like, how sincere were you about that? And then, Ashley was like, well, I came and said that to you. And then she was like, yeah, and then you went behind my back after we talked about it, and then talked about it with everybody else. So that wasn't being a friend or making me feel, that you really cared about me. So then finally, Mama Karen, she steps in and says, can she ask a question? So then Ashley was like, yeah. Then she said, girl, what is going on with you? Like, what is up in your life that got you coming for everybody like you are? So then Ashley, she finally humbles herself and brings it down a notch and admits that she's under a lot of stress, and that her and Michael are having problems in their marriage, and the restaurant is really weighing her down. And Ashley walked away, said that she feels like she is a Corilla DeVille. Was it Divine? Corilla Divine or Corilla DeVille, from 1001 Dalmatians, or is it 101 Dalmatians? You know what I'm talking about. So at least she acknowledges that it's not everybody else, that is her, and that she really needs to check herself. So then Ashley goes inside and joins Monique and Chris and admits that they are having problems in their marriage. And I guess Michael was like, how you just come and sit down and start telling people our business? But Monique had asked her, what was it like outside with the other ladies, like being negative, in her question. And then Ashley let her know that it wasn't negative, and that she was out there telling them, that she's having problems, and that they had, asked her what was really going on and why was she being so catty with everyone. So then Monique and Chris, they tell her that she really needs to relax and don't let the restaurant, ruin their marriage, and that they need to take some time and talk to each other and work things out. And, that everything will be okay, but they got to, communicate with each other. So I thought that was some nice, marital advice to give them. And I think it would be interesting to know what those food critics thought. And I thought that there would have been more of an emphasis, and I think it would have made the show more interesting if we had gotten some little chatter from the food critics. But there was one on camera at the end of the show, and he basically said something about the tomatoes weren't ripened enough, and that they need to get rid of that menu like everybody else was telling them, and put more popular items on the menu, but give them an Australian flavor. So people aren't checking for emu wings and chicken wog and all this other stuff they actually got on that menu. So she needs to revamp that whole, well, regroup and then revamp that whole menu and listen to what people are telling her. Like, cut all this stuff out because nobody is attracted to this stuff. And just like the critic was telling her, you know, have chicken wings, but let them be flavored in some popular Australian flavor or something like that. So like with the Asian dishes, you know, they have like the bang bang shrimp and stuff like that, and the you know, just different dishes, because the Asians have like 100 different chicken items on the menu, but they all, you know, have different flavors and different tastes that are part of the Orient. So that's it for me, guys. What did you think about this episode? Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you later. Take care and bye-bye.